Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tartar Zone. This is Friday Night Contact, and I am here with the two lads tonight. I hope you are all doing very well. I know I am. Where about you two lads? How you doing?
Hi.
How are you?
Hello.
How you doing? How you doing?
Um, well, Noel, remember last week? I had the day after tomorrow,
Yeah.
so we had lots of snow.
Yes. We had lots of snow.
As in lots of snow.
Yeah, like Jingle Bell snow. Yeah.
Oh, no, not happy snow. Well, Noel. So today the temperature is 8 degrees Celsius. So I'm looking for some scientists in the comment section. So what happens when you have like 2 feet of snow in like 5 days, and then the temperature suddenly goes to 8 degrees? Just spitballing. What happens? So somebody tell me what happens in this situation.
Yeah, any scientists out there? Because
Noah's flood, I should imagine.
The Irish
Uh,
weather too
well,
is acting
I would.
all haywire, and it's nothing to do with climate change. Stop be
Well, I
giving me
would.
that nonsense.
Well, Noel, I would like to brag for a minute.
Go
So
for
you
it.
know how a sign of that you're cool and
Yeah.
that you've made it is an indoor swimming pool. Um, no, it's not very deep, but it's deep enough to be annoying.
Right.
So I may suddenly have one of those in my basement, and if this gets any worse, I may have other things backing up into my basement.
Ugh.
So
Oh,
no.
oh,
Luckily,
lovely.
this is connected to the storm drain, but God knows what else has been pooped down there. So I've cleaned it up a little bit. It's dry now. I would like to pay my respects and sincere admiration and thanks to Mr. Blue, my magic wet vac, and Mr. Dehumidifier, who have helped immensely. So as of the start of this, I've cleaned up my pool a little bit. Um, but yeah, so I hate this winter. This winter sucks.
Well, I'm gonna make it a little bit worse for you.
I had fish and chips.
So here's the thing. This is a new thing that I just came up with today, and I think we'll keep this tradition every year. But we've got a Dickhead of the Year award to give out. So without further ado, I might as well tell you who the recipient is. So this person has made Greta Thunberg uh, actually out to be right. Let's just say this: if you brag to Greta that you have 20 cars, right, and then she comes back with, I think it's, yeah, go and email it to Little Dick Complex or something like that, right? She already ratioed this guy, right? Then he decides to respond in a video in a dressing gown with a fucking cigar in his mouth and lights it, but there's a pizza box on the table. The fucker is then arrested in Romania along with his brother, accused of trafficking women. Right?
Say what?
Greta then replies back and says, "You should have recycled your pizza box." And she has, in fairness, she has won Twitter on 2022 with that. The bloke in question is actually the scumbag Andrew Tate, who thinks women belong in the kitchen and all of this. And now him and his brother are after being caught in Romania, and apparently they've been arrested for trafficking
I'm doing
women.
some Googling,
So
Noel.
Andrew Tate gets the Dickhead of the Year award. And why does he get it? I'll tell you why he does it. Anybody that makes Greta Thunberg looks good deserves to get the Dickhead of the Year award, right? What the hell? How did you make that woman out? I swear it was a good ratio. Even I had to tip me hat to her. It was
Yeah, but
it
is it
was a
her?
great
Is it
comeback.
her running her own Twitter though? Is it
Well,
her running her Twitter though?
well,
That's the question.
whoever's running that Twitter account, then fair play to them, because it was the bash down and the put down of the year, in fairness. So he gets Dickhead of the Year award because he made her look good, right? And she ain't good, right? She's gone around fear mongering, right? You can't be making people like that look good. So he gets that award. So I wanted to start off with that. Queen Charlotte obviously has watched Blood Origin. We will be talking about that because Chris wants to talk about that. Also,
Oh no, I just want to laugh.
Also, as well, Disney apparently cannot afford any more flops because the company apparently will be in serious trouble in 2023. We'll discuss a little bit about that.
Oh,
And of
Lord,
course,
please.
Tom Cruise has done it again. He's jumped out of a fucking helicopter this time to thank fans for watching his movies. Do you know what? He is, right? We'll start with the Tom Cruise stuff because I just want to say something, right? Top Gun is an all right movie, right? It's all right. But Maverick, to me, is the better movie. I think it's the more mature movie anyway, right? There was too much romance in the first one for my liking, and I know there was a little bit in Maverick, but it wasn't overshadowing the whole thing. So I prefer Maverick over Top Gun. Sue me, don't care. But this man has been making just movies, right? There's no agenda in these movies. There's nothing. He's just putting out action flick after action. Wherever he's in, you know, when you watch a Tom Cruise movie that you're going to be entertained. I'm delighted Maverick was as successful as it was. I just hope now that everybody will, after the success of Maverick, that haven't really got into the Mission Impossible franchise. Trust me, I originally stopped at Mission Impossible 4. I rewatched the whole lot of them all the way up to the latest ones until the last two are released, obviously Dead Reckoning. But I've watched them all. They're great bloody movies. If you want to be entertained, you know, there's no wokeness, no nothing. Go and watch it. But lads, Tom Cruise, again, jumping out of a helicopter, thanking fans for watching these movies. Chris, I mean, he is the last old-fashioned movie star left, in my opinion, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Would you, action star anyway, would you agree with that?
Yep. I think Tom Cruise's career is unique and it's never been replicated. And I don't think it ever, well, at this point, it never would be replicated. This is a guy who's been at the top of the list for decades, like literally since I was like 5.
Yeah, same kids.
So he's been at the top of the list, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, now the 2020s. He does have his little religious thing, but frankly, that seems
well, in fairness,
tame.
you know, we don't judge him on that though. But
what I was going to say is that almost seems tame now compared to things that we're not going to touch on here, but other wacky things we've seen. So, but you know, he's entitled to do what he wants, and it's never really affected his career, unlike John.
No, it hasn't.
Battlefield Earth, but here's the thing. When we talk about modern movies and everybody going woke, he's, other than Nicolas Cage and a few others, he hasn't. And Tom Cruise does not need the money. I'm like, my God, this guy has more money than God.
Yeah, he's only making movies now at this stage because he actually loves making movies. You can tell he just loves it doesn't matter what he's doing, but he always makes sure there's some stunts in it as well because he loves to pull off these insane stunts. But he just loves working.
I want you to think about this for a sec. He's 60.
I know. 60.
He looks younger than me.
I know, and he's jumping out of helicopters and airplanes and fucking you name it. Strapped to an airplane in the last one he was hanging onto the wing on the last one when he was talking about Maverick being the #1 movie, thanking fans for going out to watch it. He's a lunatic. But he is. They're very rare now, those actors. Poor Bruce Willis now. He has to kind of give up acting, and the movies that he is doing are going straight to DVD because obviously he has health issues now, and it's
Bruce Willis. No, he had to retire and all.
Yeah,
No,
he's
he
retired.
has a degenerative cognitive mental condition where
Yeah,
his brain can't connect words. That's why, and a lot of people felt bad because
Bit like
for
me.
several years we've been making fun of poor
yeah,
Bruce
because
Willis.
he's
We
in
saw what he was
movies
in,
and he didn't hardly have any lines, and when he
and he
did,
couldn't.
he just didn't look interested. But that's because of his illness. We never knew. But the fact that he was still working during his illness again shows that he loved his craft as well. I mean, Bruce Willis is a fucking legend as well, man. I mean, we grew up with some movie stars. I don't care what anybody says. I will say this: every generation say that they grew up with the best tier of movie stars, but I think we truly did. I think we truly did. We had some amazing actors and actresses, man. Seriously, I think we got a little bit spoiled. You look at Hollywood now.
It's well, you have your legitimate Tom Cruise, which would be the legitimate. Well, there's a few of them that I have respect for, but very few. Tom Cruise is in a league of his own because he's been an A-lister almost as long as everybody on this stream has been alive. Yeah, and I've said this before. Nicolas Cage is my favorite actor, unironically. I know he's over the top, but no, when you give him something good to work with, the guy is an
No, I
absolute
agree
genius.
with you. If he has good scripts, he's
He's like a
actually decent.
one good movie on, one bad movie on, one good movie. He's like
Well,
every other movie
Yeah,
is terrible,
career
and then
has
every other
been, I
movie is
will
great.
say that, but I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, he had a good run. He had Snake Eyes, I think, 8mm.
he was the biggest star in Hollywood for a couple years.
Yeah, he was.
He did think
Con
of
Air.
Face Off, Con Air the same year. It was why is the name not coming to
The Rock, he did The Rock with Sean Connery as well. That was a fucking cracking movie as well. I only recently
National Treasure.
He had City of
that
Angels.
franchise, though, I think that franchise, though,
Ghost
is
Rider.
where his career started to derail. I love those movies, though. I have to admit, I do actually love those movies. I don't know why they got National Treasure. I don't know why they get so much stick. They're not trying to be Indiana Jones. It's. I think that's what the problem was with National Treasure. Everybody is always going to compare those sort of movies to the Indiana Jones franchise, no matter what. That's why I don't think. That movie worked either with Tom Holland. The game that I play, and it's gone out of my head. What's the fucking movie he was in? Does anybody in the chat know? I played the game. I can't believe I don't even know because I've played the fucking game.
You played a game, so what are we talking about?
It's Tom Holland did a movie based on a game. Uncharted.
Uncharted.
That's why I don't think Uncharted. I like Uncharted movie. Yes, it didn't directly follow the whole game specifically, but it gave us some of the best bits out of the game, and I loved it. But again, that movie didn't do too well, even though Tom Holland had come off the back of Spider-Man. What was it? No Way Home, was it? No, not No Way Home. Far From Home, wasn't it? Was that what it was called? I don't know.
I don't know. No Way Home is the last one.
No Way Home, that's the one. So I was right the first time. So he was coming off the back of that. So I thought with the popularity of that, it would actually boost up this movie, but it didn't. It didn't. I think those movies are going to be very hard to do. Those sort of franchises. There's even talk that he might come back for a National Treasure TV show now. At first there was a movie. Now there might be a TV show.
There is a TV show, and it doesn't star Nicolas Cage.
All right, well then I don't know.
It's on Disney Plus. I refuse to watch it. I do want to give a recommendation. I've done this before, but last year I saw one of the best movies I've ever seen, and it's one of those movies I can actually never watch again because the end just destroyed me. But it's a movie called Pig. It's starring Nicolas Cage. It came out last year. I think it is by far his best performance.
You keep saying that about that movie, and every time you keep saying it, right? I go into where I go and watch the movies, and I'm like, will I watch it? Will I watch it? And then I'm just like, I just see the cover of the movie or the poster, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can watch this.
It's no, it is the performance is absolutely unreal. But if you're even remotely an animal person,
Oh yeah,
this movie will. And it was one that I wasn't going to watch because even before I hadn't seen it in theaters, but I remember when I picked it up. It's like, okay, I got to see this pig movie. Originally, when you see the cover or the original poster, you think it's a horror movie or something. I'm like, okay, well, pig. I'm like, oh, Walmart. Okay, here's pig. I read it about what it's about. Oh God, no. And it's the one thing, well, especially with dogs, bad things
yeah,
happening is. But this one, for me, it's really animals. Period. So I looked at it. I'm like, I put it back on the shelf. Went did my grocery shopping, and like, well, everybody's raving about this. I'm like, I need to check it out. I know it's so. Then I watched it, and I'm like, I'm blown away. Just even the cinematography, everything. But it's yeah. Unless you have a heart of stone, or you are completely devoid of emotions, or you
no,
hate animals, it's worth watching once. I have it on my shelf. I know I can never watch it again.
yeah, I know. That's the type of movie now I would actually personally avoid. What about you, Lee? Would that be the type of movie you would watch now?
I can't stand movies that animals get hurt in. I no.
Same, same.
It's
Can't do
no,
it.
like it's literally like the last time I was affected this way by a movie, and like horror is my favorite genre. So,
Yeah,
I can watch people being ripped, maimed, saw. I can laugh my ass off. Do whatever you want to people, but do something bad to an animal. Although generally in horror movies, even though there are a lot of deaths, they're usually so over the top that it doesn't phase me. The last time I remember being impacted like this by a movie was when I made the mistake of watching Marley and Me, and that would have been back around 2009. And it was one of the only Blu-rays I was happy giving away because I can't watch this again. And it was literally like this. Like it's one of those movies that will stick with you for days.
yeah, yeah.
But
That
anybody that says Nicolas Cage is a bad actor, watch that movie, and at your own peril. And there is one scene where it's near the end, and it would almost be like a Nicolas Cage freakout scene, but they cut out the sound, and it's just the impact is like holy crap. And then he does Willy's Wonderland where he doesn't speak. Willy's Wonderland is ridiculous. I love that film. A lot of people don't, but it's Nicolas Cage not speaking for an entire movie, beating up evil animatronics in an abandoned restaurant.
yeah, sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Oh no, it's awesome.
Yeah. I'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. We've got a couple of new people in the
Oh,
chat.
I got to. I have to just. Ian,
Step
don't
away.
watch the thing. Oh no,
Yeah.
I was. No, Ian was just in the chat. Don't watch the thing. Ian, what I do is I actually own that movie 4 times over, but I know exactly the scene you're talking about. I skip it. It's like John Wick. There are movies that I love that have scenes I can't watch, but I know where to skip them.
We've got Doctor Who at Beyond and 60 in the chat as well. We got Jack Main in the chat, the third Doctor, Rebecca Gold,
Hello.
Nicholas, and Disaster Area have all popped in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you all. Right, let's get into it because obviously we've got some news to cover. So The Witcher Blood Origins, Charlotte has already actually put in the chat that yeah, she's watched it and it deserves all the hate that it's actually getting. So asking the question, has it flopped? It looks like it actually has flopped. So obviously the Witcher franchise right now, people obviously are a bit upset because Henry is obviously gone from the main show. And then they announced this Blood Origins thing, or it was already in the can. Has it flopped, guys?
Critically, So I just pulled up Rotten Tomatoes. So The Witcher Blood Origin, which whenever and Netflix, it's the idiocy. They can't win because they'll give something that everybody apparently loves, like Wednesday, which I'm going to check out at some point.
Yeah,
But then
same.
it's like that's always followed by a face plant. So The Witcher's Blood Origin currently on Rotten Tomatoes. Critic review, it's a splat with 35%. And with this type of content, it's pretty bad when even the reviewers can't support it. Audience score, it was at 8%. It's gone up to 12%. I'm not going to watch it. I think it's absolutely hilarious how this show just completely, there's implosions and then there's whatever the hell went on with this franchise. I would say it flopped, and I would say this is more bad PR. Well, the Witcher thing has been an absolute PR disaster for Amazon. So yeah, I'd say it's flopped. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm just looking at
Not interested.
some of the audience reviews here. Someone has given it a
There's only so many
now.
flops you can cope with at any one time, and when you're inundated with them, it just becomes a chore. Why am I going to put myself through it? There's just absolutely no point. We know exactly what we're going to get. We know exactly how we're going to react to it. That's what they want. If they want to spend money on wasting their time and hours, knock yourselves out. You know,
Here's
come
the thing
2024, they won't exist.
Here's the thing that's actually very interesting. So I've gone into the reviews by Google, as you do, and I've noticed they've got all the top reviews. So the ones that are giving it a 5, a 4, a 3, they're all on top. There's 968 reviews, and the first 7 or 8 are 5s, right? So that's what's boosted up the score, basically. These people have gone in and they've boosted it up. Then you've got a 2-star there. You got another 5-star, 1-star, a 1-star, a 1-star, a 5-star. See, what's happening here is there's a lot of people. Obviously, there'll be a lot of people. Now, you can't trust reviews nowadays, especially on any of these platforms, for the simple reason is that, you know, people that genuinely go in and give a review will give their review, and whether it's good or bad, whatever, right? There's a lot of people that will intentionally go in, right? And it works both ways, by the way. Will intentionally say that the show is great, even if it's not, to try boost up the score. We've seen it with the Doctor Who era, the last era especially. The other fans tried to boost up that era any way they could. That's what's happening here as well, right? I'm looking at the headlines here, and The Witcher, the Gamer headline is Witcher Blood Origin breaks record for Netflix worst audience score.
I'm wondering because there's
and
only
the Witcher
40
fans demand cancellation as the prequel debuts to Netflix worst rated series. Oh my God, the media, Chris, are actually ripping this apart. So even if the media, and we know what the media are like nowadays, we don't trust the media when it comes to reviews, but even the woke media are bashing this crap.
You kind of feel bad for Michelle Yeoh because she is a good actress.
She is.
But the problem is she's been in 2 of the biggest disasters of the past 5 years. As I used to call on my when I did my my reviews, Hammy Georgiou, or Star Trek, the STD of things, and now she's in this. You have to wonder because Netflix, up until a couple of years ago, was known as really what I think around 2019 is when they changed. But, Netflix was all about quality, and it was known as being very easy to get fired at Netflix
Yeah.
because the policy there was adequate performance will get you fired. So when it came to originals, when it came to anything involving the company, you had to be top tier. And that's why if you look at their original shows, their early shows, whether they're your taste or not, House of Cards, there's some controversies around that now that we're not going to go into, but it was a great show. Orange is the New Black, maybe not specifically my thing, but it was a good show. Stranger Things, which is one of the few early Netflix shows that's still around.
That was very good.
But you look at it now, I'm like, and Netflix I can't remember his name, but they've had the same CEO since they were sending DVDs out of a garage 25 years ago. And you had to wonder what happened. I'm like, how did you think?
I'll tell you what happened.
He's getting mad.
They started applying these new diversity and inclusion.
We know that. I'm just trying to comprehend the stupidity.
So effectively, you're destroying your own company by bringing in radicalized ideologues who put identity politics ahead of quality product, and you can't get rid of them. Once you have these infesting your company, they destroy it from within. Seen it throughout. I mean, no one can deny this anymore. Nobody.
Lee, question though, right? To you,
knock me out.
Right. So we know the movie industry is overcompensating because obviously they're full of fucking weirdos and cults, and we've seen all the shit throughout Hollywood over the years, right? We know it's a dark place, right? But these streaming apps, right? Especially Netflix, they started off as as Chris said,
Okay. So we every time somebody calls me that, we need to come up with something.
It's very hard though, because we're trying to adjust after years of calling you the same name. It is hard.
But I need to come up with a way to torture Noel. Okay, so we'll pick a winner. Just in the chat, just come up with something Noel has to do every time he says and we'll pick the best option.
Fair enough.
Noel is effectively misgendering you there, Chris.
Oh, here's the thing.
Don't they call that dead naming? You dead name me, bastard.
Who cares? This bunch of muppets. Listen, right. So anyway, but Netflix,
cancel Noel.
Netflix sold DVDs, put them through the pot, whatever, right? But they weren't part of the Hollywood elite, the movie industry as such. They came into it and then obviously decided that was the best way to go. So relatively, their record in Hollywood, right, would be obviously spotless compared to the movie studios that all have dark pasts. So why would Netflix have to start then overcompensating the way the other movie studios are doing now? As Chris would say, they'll bring out a great show, right? And then 2 weeks later, then they'll follow it up with 2 other shows that are complete trash, and are pushing these complete trash as well. Because when you go into Netflix, then you see these complete trash. Why do you think they're doing that when Netflix, obviously, as I said, mentioned, are not like the movie studios? They don't have that dark past.
Because they become a public company. But when you become a public company, you have invested interests, and you invite elements to boardrooms and the board committees, whatever you want to call them. If you look at the structure of corporations, they are run effectively exactly the same as a Bolshevik state, right? It's exactly the same. So you're inviting elements into a public company to be held to account the same way as other public companies are held. These things, people will literally go, I hate saying literally, but I'm going to say it here, will go door to door to these companies offering these services. And if you say, no, thank you, we're dealing with that in-house, we're not interested, they will then say, fine, we'll get our 80,000 plus followers on Twitter to target your company as being Islamophobic or whatever, if you don't pay us 80 grand up front. And a lot of these companies just cave into it because they just can't be bothered to deal with it. Plus, all these companies also have, the larger they get, particularly, the more they have to be seen to be socially engaged, doing issues and charitable things, so they want to be on the right on hip thing at the time. You've seen it with BLM, you've seen it with the LGBT, you've seen it with all other manner of things, climate change, you name it.
Yeah.
So it's jumping on bandwagons because they feel they have to project a social conscience, even though that their heart is, corporations that really don't give a shit.
It's just kind of sad to see Netflix in the state that it is, because they were kind of leading the way, weren't they, with the streaming? They were showing all the other streaming services that were coming about how to do it, and now all of a sudden they've become one of the worst streaming platforms. But I just want to read out before Chris jumps in there. But who this?
Well, you have to bear in mind. Just
sorry,
quickly,
can I read out the super chat?
Just quickly, because it's important. Let's not forget, Netflix, before all this stuff was happening, they had a monopoly pretty much on the streaming services. Then you had things like Disney and HBO and blah 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 and more and more, and all these studios are forming their own streaming companies, taking their franchises, their films, their TV shows away from Netflix, who would have had all those things had these other companies not sprung up in competition. So yeah, they had to produce more content to keep up. The content that they have to increase loses and drops in quality because you're producing more of it, and you're having less quality input coming from other studios who are now setting up in direct competition. So there is that element to it too. Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's grand. We got a $10 Canadian dollar super chat from Who This, and it's a flying pair. It's a flying pair. So thank you for that super sticker. We really appreciate it. So yeah, it's a flying pair. You can't see it on StreamYard, but if you're on YouTube there, you'll see it. It's a flying pair. So thank you for that flying pair. Disaster Area says, make Noel watch Howard the Duck.
Yep. Okay. So for every time Noel does that, he gets strapped to a chair and has to watch. We were supposed to do that watch along.
I know 2 years ago. We were supposed to do it.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to watch.
Conveniently forgotten.
Well, no, it was. I was going to force him to watch Howard the Duck, and he was going to force me to watch Ghostbusters 2016, from what I remember. But yeah, what I was going to say is the funny thing about Netflix, and you can't help but laugh about this, is the timing of some of this. And I think one of it's so sad, it's funny. But remember earlier this year when their stock basically plummeted in the face of losing subscribers? And I remember I tweeted about this on my old account. What was it that they released that day? So I go into my email, and I don't know how broken their algorithm is. They're like, here's something you might be interested in. So again, this is the day the stock crashed. It was that show about the pregnant dude. So as they're imploding, that's the email they send out. Hopefully somebody got fired for that, but probably not.
I just thought, look, we've been talking about this for years, right? I don't know how long these companies, now, according to all of the people that we do listen to and watch, Disney are on the brink now, and in 2023, as I said, if they don't have any more hits, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. I personally find that hard to believe, because if it was just Disney, the company on its own, then I'd say yes, fair. You've got a fair point. But Disney has its claws in a lot of stuff everywhere. I mean, if Disney collapses, basically television collapses, because they have their fingers in nearly every US network as well. People don't realize actually how much Disney own and what they own and what they actually have a stake in, or a company they have a percentage in. They have their claws everywhere. I think it's very hard for Disney to be taken down, but I would say that
they're taking themselves down.
they're doing a very good job of it. I mean, they haven't. When was the last time? I'm going to ask you this question, and people in the chat as well. Genuine question. Name me the last Disney movie that you truly enjoyed. Because I can't remember the last Disney movie that I watched that I said, yeah, I actually love that movie. I used to love
Endgame.
them growing up as a kid. I think we all did. Loved the animations. You know,
The Christmas
we all
Carol.
grew up
I
with
watched-
Disney.
No,
Which-
I think for most people, it's going to be Endgame.
No,
No,
that film was tedious.
no.
It was enjoyable. It was the last thing they did that's watchable.
I didn't enjoy it.
And if anybody wants to say Spider-Man No Way Home, that's Sony. That's
Yeah.
why it didn't suck.
WWE, aka Andrew Jones, giving us the score of in the championship, a £2 super chat. Swansea City 4, Watford 0. I wouldn't be wasting your money on telling us the score about football. I don't give two flying.
Well,
craps
no. What
about-
we need to know is
Swansea.
how's Barry Island doing?
Oh no, we don't. We don't need to encourage that at all. But we do have another Canadian super chat, a $5 one this time from who this. You guys should watch Netflix Resident Evil
No.
and spiral further and further into depressive void with each episode. Are you really trying to encourage us to get depressed?
us dead. You want to kill us. Oh my god.
Monologue time.
Actually, talking about stuff like that, is anybody going to watch the Last of Us show with Pedro? What's
No.
his name?
No.
Pascal.
No.
No way.
Looks awful.
Does it? I have to say, I saw the trailer and I thought the cinematography looked great. I couldn't even get that word
well,
out.
you can polish up a turd. It's still a turd.
Do you think it's going to be crap?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it because? Can I ask you honestly though? Is it because of what happened in the second game?
Yes.
People are thinking that. But what if the TV show does it different to the game? What if they changed that in the show? Would you be then convinced to watch the show? Because remember, they have done TV show adaptations, and sometimes with controversial things in the games, they've kept out and they've done their own thing with it. Would you watch it then if they did that?
Nope.
No interest. Anybody in the chat interested? No. Let's see what people said. Apple might take Disney over someday.
That's been rumored for years. Although
Chronicles
they
of
could.
Narnia is Narnia 1. I think that's the last Disney movie. Werewolf.
My God, wasn't that like 15 years ago?
That's
a long time. That's what I mean. It has been actually a long time, though. That's why I asked it, because I can't even think of the last Disney movie that I watched that I actually really enjoyed. And I mean proper Disney. I'm not talking about the Marvel Disney crap.
Oh damn. National Treasure Part 2?
Probably, yeah. I'd actually agree with you on that one. I think that was the last Disney movie I actually enjoyed.
I gotta check. That was, I think, was that 2008? Why can't I remember? This minute, I'm gonna no.
Renee said Encanto.
Or Encanto.
That was probably decent. I don't really remember that. So
Christmas Carol. I watched that recently with Jack. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. But again, old.
We're going back to 2007. So National Treasure Book of Secrets was released in 2007. So 15 years ago.
Zootopia was not bad. Toy Story 3. Forgot about Toy Story franchise, yeah.
Never watched those. Maybe I'm too old and grumpy.
Toy Story is great. I'm not messing. The Lion King, not the live action version.
I heard the last one wasn't great.
No, but apparently it ties everything up. It's supposed to be very sad, though. No, it's getting good reviews, the last one. Apparently, though, it's a tearjerker and you need your hankies. So we've got another super chat from Andrew. Barry Island is doing fine, and unlike you, they all love me down there. P.S. Why do you hate Barry Island? I can answer that. We hate Barry Island because you live on Barry Island.
Lee and I once did a investigation into the crime statistics of Barry Island, and it's a terrible place.
Yeah,
Hey.
Toy Story is technically Pixar. Exactly, though. Yeah, that's a good one
Actually,
there.
yeah, so that doesn't count. So I think we're
Back
yeah,
to National Treasure
National
too.
Treasure too. So to for exactitude. So it was. I'm just gonna. So we know I'm gonna get the exact date. So, it was released on December 21st, 2007. So like 15 years ago last week. That's really sad.
Disney is. If Walt Disney was around today, he'd be heartbroken
Revolving.
because Walt Disney was all about creativity. You know, that's what. That's what I mean. I watched a 4.5 hour YouTube video on the history of Walt Disney, right? And that was only part one, right? There's like 7 parts to this, the whole history of Disney and Walt Disney. And that man was just driven by creativity. He oozed it. He just, man, he would be ashamed of what's become of the Disney brand. This is not what he envisioned for Disney. I mean, you look at the movies while he was alive. Yes, he did a few that obviously we don't see anymore because, you know, they were highly racist, and let's be honest, they were, but that was the time that they lived in. We understand that sort of thing, but people today don't. But the people that he had around him, they knew what they were doing. You know, they took a gamble on that park as well. I mean, he nearly bankrupted himself building that bloody park. You know, he took a chance and he had a dream and he fucking went through with it and he built that company up. And now look at it. Look at it now. It's a shadow of its former self. Seriously, you seen that Disney logo years ago when you were growing up as a kid? Not a word of a lie. And I think the lads on the panel would probably agree with me on this. But when you seen that Disney logo, right, you knew that the movie that you were going to watch was going to be half decent anyway. It
Well,
was
does
never a
anybody
bad movie.
well, does anybody remember the what was it, the Wonderful World? I don't know if you guys had this in Ireland or the UK, but Sunday nights we used to have the Wonderful World of Disney. I think it was on ABC's. I think that's when they actually bought ABC. But no, it was basically like a Disney movie of the week. Sometimes it would be, something they just made, or something, a
That
classic
sounds
movie.
deadly, man. No, we
Uh,
didn't have that here, but
Oh
that
no, that
sounds deadly.
it was a big deal here for years, but it was no, and even in the 80s, like did anybody remember Dark Disney, the black hole, the Watcher in the Woods, and the and anything that wasn't family friendly, because I don't know if anybody remembers Touchstone Pictures, but
Yeah.
that was Disney, that was Disney owned, that was where their adult their stuff not made
And
for
that's
kids
where they
went.
made some of their best movies, though. Disney with Touchstone
Yep.
Pictures. You look at the Touchstone Pictures, there's some fucking cracking movies. That's what I mean. Disney were never always like this. I don't know why they feel like they have to overcompensate. Listen, we're not saying you can't pander to these idiots. If you want to make shows for those idiots and they flop, fine, fair enough. But make stuff for us too, like, what about us? It's not all about them. What about us? We deserve to be entertained as well. We deserve our escapism. So where's our fucking entertainment? You know what I
It's
mean?
making
That's the
fun of
thing.
it.
There isn't any balance. If there was balance, we wouldn't even be complaining. Because let's be honest, all of these woke shows, we wouldn't be into them anyway. We wouldn't watch them. The people that they're aiming them at, if they tune in and watch them, that's a different story. But that's an argument for a different day. But at least they're there if they want to watch them. We'll watch what we want to watch. But the problem is that Hollywood has decided, and the industry as a whole has decided, well, screw everybody else. We're just going to keep making the same crap again. That's going to keep flopping every time. And I tell you, they're doing that Barbie movie. Aren't they? Disney are doing that Barbie movie with Margot Robbie. That Barbie movie, I've seen the fucking trailer. I've seen the photographs. Ncuti Gatwa is in that movie as well. That movie is going to flop hard. That movie is gonna flop hard, and Disney they are in trouble. They're done. They're done
About
in
bloody time.
terms of
Look, they spent all this money buying up things that they didn't even need, like Fox Television and whatever it was. I mean,
Fox
why?
never-
Can I just say something?
They bought
Star
Star Wars.
Just for a second, this is important. Andrew, right now, listen. You shouldn't be putting your address in the chat. That's absolutely ridiculous now.
No, yeah, dude. Is
Listen, mate, take it off. Take it down now. Come on. Right. That you should I don't even know why you're doing that. It's ridiculous. Nobody needs to know where you live.
Can you delete it?
I can delete it, but I don't know if that means you delete the.
No. The super chat goes through.
Right. Well, I'm removing it because Daniel's already done it. You can't be doing that, Andrew. You know, at the end of the day, yeah. I don't like what you do, but you shouldn't be putting yourself at risk there. You should never put up your personal details, especially on a live stream or anything like that. That's very dangerous. Don't do that again. And I'm only looking out for you here. You know what I mean? So just be careful. All right. We don't need to know where you bleed and live. You already told us several times anyway.
But not someone else that you don't like.
But it doesn't matter. You shouldn't be doing that, you know?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, the Masters of the Universe franchise, yeah, it's gonna flop hard, man.
Oh, that's already flopped.
Oh, yeah.
That's already dead. And it's still so sad that Kevin Smith was the one that did it. Well, what I was going to say,
deep.
It's
this is your fault, Chris. You encouraged this.
It's okay, dude. Noel is going to take that money and he's going to buy himself a bunch of pineapple pizzas because he's learned that he likes it.
No.
It just needs
hang on.
Let me just say I don't like it after having 3 slices.
No, I had 3 slices of the pizza. Right, here's the deal with pineapple pizza. Right, right.
3 slices.
When you force Garrett and you eat the slices with the pineapple on it, it's lovely, right? But when the pizza starts not being as hot as it is and the pineapple gets cool very quick, it then becomes a bit of a chore to eat. Now, I did eat the whole pizza.
It depends on how it's cooked.
Here's the thing, though. Would I run out and get another one? Not really. But if it was handed to me, I would eat it because it's not too bad. But I still, look, if people want to eat pineapple on pizza, that's fine. But for me, pineapple does not.
It wasn't made properly. What I do when I have frozen pizza with pineapple, you have to put your oven on broil for a couple, like I'll do it for maybe like 30 seconds. Because it's almost like the pineapple has to be cooked more than the rest of the pizza. And when it's all like, not hard, it's actually really good. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So before we got distracted with pineapples on pizzas, the Disney purchase of Fox, and I've said this before, never should have gone through because look at all the franchises they have to destroy. But I know the one thing we were going to touch on, and I've got Box Office Mojo up here on my second monitor. So Avatar: The Way of the Water. So as we've said, this is James Cameron going to bankrupt Disney. So just to break even, this movie has to make over $2 billion. That's just your breaking even point. So with the numbers that it has right now, with any other movie, like literally any other movie, but this one.
Chris, is that for all 3 of the movies that they?
No, that's for this movie alone. The other one, the other 2 aren't even finished yet. And if I think all the actual live action shooting has been done for years, but the effects and everything aren't done. No, that $2 billion, that's for this movie alone. And right now it's sitting at 1.1 billion. and Christmas is over. So, or the Christmas season is basically over. So, unless it can say unless it can do a Captain Marvel on its own, it would need to do that for the scratch to get to 2 billion. So, yeah, no, it's and even James Cameron himself said, yeah, this movie needs to make 2 billion to break even. I have no, so essentially, so that means that the budget was over $1 billion. Exactly how you justify spending $1 billion on anything in these days makes no sense. But it's going to be a spectacular fail. And James Cameron hasn't done himself any favors with some of his, shall we say, publicity fails. And he also wants to reboot the Terminator, which I don't even know who owns the rights to the Terminator right now because it's been owned by every company. But let's hope it's Disney, or let's hope it's Fox. But yeah, so I don't see this making money unless a miracle happens because they had to make the money over Christmas.
But here's the thing. He was also moaning at the fact that over the years he hasn't been able to do the projects that he wanted. And Tom from Midnight's Edge says, "Well, dude, you've had plenty of years to do. Where have you been? Like, you know what I mean? He's been busy bleeding, going down to Titanic and doing other bleeding shipwrecks instead of making movies." But I just like to point out, this talk about the Terminator movie, we shouldn't be happy that he's rebooting the Terminator franchise, because I'd like to point out that he actually had a hand in Dark Fate. He was one of the producers of that movie. So why would we want, again, I'm going to say this again, and I keep repeating myself, but I'm going to say it. All of these directors, James Cameron, Ridley Scott, Steven Spielberg, you had your day, right? Going back to past glories and trying to either reboot them or give us another sequel to a franchise that doesn't need a sequel or a reboot. It's just leave it out. Yous are done. Yous have already proven that yous aren't good enough anymore anyway. Ridley Scott has ruined the Alien franchise single-handedly, right? He also, well, people will argue, he did the same with Blade Runner when he did the sequel, right? The people will argue. Some people do like the second one. That's fine. Fair enough. If it's your cup of tea, that's all well and good, right? But these directors have proven that they don't have it anymore. They don't have it anymore. So they need to stop. They need to stop. There's even talks about Jaws, right? There was rumors about Jaws coming back, and apparently Steven Spielberg was saying no, he doesn't want it done. But the studio obviously owns it. So if they decide that they're actually going to do it, they didn't do it out of respect for him, but they're itching at the feet to do another Jaws. There's no need. The Jaws movie on its own was good enough. As I said, when we were talking about movies that shouldn't have had franchises, Jaws is one of them. Jaws was a standalone movie and should never have been a franchise. These directors need to leave it out now. I don't want another Terminator movie. I don't, right? For me, there's only 3 movies. And even the third movie, you can argue is the weakest one, but still, well, It is the weakest one, but still, I would take those 3 as the trilogy and forget about the rest that came after that. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the Terminator trilogy right there, right? I don't want Terminator again. It was done. They won't do it right? They've tried several times now, right? And they failed several times now. Lee, would you like to see another Terminator franchise?
No. Look, has there been any good Terminator movies since the second one? I think some people say 3 on a sort of
Rise of the Machines. Rise of the Machines nostalgia now.
It should never have been a franchise in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I think
great.
Maybe 1 or 2 movies, fine. 3 if you want to do the full trilogy, knock yourself out. But beyond that, it just gets ridiculous and tiring. It's the same with Star Wars. It's the same with everything else that extends beyond its life. You can't recapture the magic. The more we move into the modern era, the more we have all these wonderful special effects and everything, the less interesting the stories seem to get, because you just flooded with the flashbang wallop, and you're supposed to be, oh look, pretty colors. There's no substance. It's
That's
all
what's
money
ruined.
grabs.
Yeah,
All money
and
grabs.
Terminator.
Go on, Chris.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, and Terminator 3 is going to be 20 years old next summer. And it's been said over and over again, is there just based on the nature of certain movies and certain shows, like the Terminator, there's only so many things you could do with that story. Really, it is a single story, which they reinvented the first story in Terminator 2, but did it in a slightly different way, flipped things around. You could argue that maybe like Terminator 3, it pales in comparison to the first two, but
I love Rise of the
still good.
Machines.
It's
love
a
Rise of
good
the
movie.
Machines.
It's not on the same level, and I think
No.
James Cameron, it was the first one that he didn't direct. But I think the Terminator, okay, say it works sort of as a trilogy, although I don't really like what they did with the end of Terminator 2, because it's just a little bit, or I should say Terminator 3, because it is a little bit too bleak. Terminator Salvation, maybe you're doing something different. It's not really part of the main show. It's more of a spin-off.
It was kind of a prequel of the future of the war itself against the machines. Christian Bale. I mean, it was a good attempt, but still, that movie didn't do it for me, Chris. I don't know about you, but that movie didn't do it for me.
I was bored. I can barely remember anything. The only thing anybody remembers about that movie is Christian Bale's hissy fit, which is
legendary.
Yeah, but I say maybe as a spin-off, I was bored. But then you have Genesis, and there was actually, people thought that Genesis was going to be the biggest movie of 2015 when the trailers first started coming out. And then we saw it, and then we saw the casting. And as much as I love Emilia Clarke, she's not.
She wasn't a good Sarah Connor. There was no chemistry between her and the one that she was supposed to be with.
It's miscast. And then and when Dark Fate was first announced, even at that point, we had our suspicions as to where they were going to go with it. But Dark Fate is like, why does this movie exist? And it's actually depressing, because you have most of the ingredients, in fact, pretty much all the ingredients that you had in Terminator 2, and now you've seen how badly they aged, and it's just depressing. I've watched it. It's awful. Like,
it is.
The only good part is Arnold as what's his name? Whatever they named as Terminator. Some of his jokes are actually funny. That's the only thing I enjoyed in the entire movie.
Yeah. What they basically did with Dark Fate, folks, is that they killed off John Connor. I don't care that I'm ruining it. They killed off John Connor, and basically they made the woman the center and the savior now, instead of John Connor being the savior. It was now going to be a woman. I will say one thing about Dark Fate. I did like the new Terminators and the way they moved, and I will say that the franchise itself, is shit. Right after the second one, the third one I love for nostalgia. My favorite part of the third movie is where he actually goes to the graveyard, and he pulls out Sarah's coffin, but it's not really. She was buried somewhere else, and it's a load of guns. And he carries the coffin out to the graveyard, and then he starts firing his big minigun. And then the Terminator music plays in the background. I love that movie just for the nostalgia of it, and it still has some heart. But the rest of the movies don't. But I will say one thing about that franchise. I have liked the way they've brought new Terminators and introduced new Terminators into the franchise. It's just a pity that all the movies that they've been in, they've been shite. That's the problem. And Gen Z or Genesis, wherever you want to call it, I have to admit I have a kind of soft spot for that movie. But the one biggest issue I have with that movie is that they skipped one of the timelines in that movie. And that was a big fucking no-no for me. And again, as Chris said, it was miscast. But Arnold in that movie, again, he was actually funny in that movie as well. But the Terminator's not supposed to be funny. That's what I feel like after the second movie. The third movie, they kind of made the Terminator, Arnold's Terminator, a bit lighthearted to tell a few jokes. And I never really liked that. The purest Terminator movie is obviously the first one, because the second one is more action-based. But the first one will always be probably, well, people say the sequel's better, but we can argue on that one. But the first movie is the pure movie. The rest then after that, as Lee said, it shouldn't have been. It really shouldn't have been. It's a standalone movie, really, like Jaws, Predator. Even though Predator 2 is great, actually, I do like Predator 2. I mean, there's a few you could argue, but why do I do that? You hate by Andrew Jones. I don't know. That's a £2 super chat. If you want to keep wasting your money, that's fine. Jamie Knight with a £2 super chat. He says, why don't you try pineapple and pepperoni pizza? I dare you. Yeah, pushing it there. Nicholas Horton on the Terminator stuff has asked us on the panel. Sarah Connor, ashes was scattered into the ocean. That was her body. But he did ask about the Sarah Connor Chronicles that had your woman Summer, what was her name? Summer, what was her name? Summer, your woman, did you just watch the Sarah Jane Chronicles? Did anybody here watch the Sarah Jane Chronicles?
I started watching, I've watched, I think, like the first 5 episodes of series 1. I just got distracted with other things. I haven't managed to catch up with it yet.
Yeah,
I know
I'll have to look back into that, because it looked pretty decent, and it's actually audience and critics, when critics were actually proper critics, have actually said it's good. I've never really watched it there. Summer Lau, yeah, that's her name or something like that. Yeah, she was also in, as you said, Firefly. She was great in Firefly as well. But I think Chris has seen Terminator Chronicles, so we'll wait for him to come in. But pineapple and pepperoni pizza, I dare you, not a chance, man. Not a chance. Pineapple on pizza with ham. It was ham, pineapple, and mushrooms. It was a bit of a weird one, I have to say. But I had it. Because I was starving. Had to eat it. No choice. 2049 was trash, says Scottish Davros and friends wrestle with pop culture. While we're waiting on Chris to come back, Lee, is there anything that you want to talk about tonight and bring up?
Have you watched Tulsa King yet?
No. But if you want to bang on about, I mean, if you want to bang on about that and get everybody to watch it, go ahead, man. But I haven't watched it yet, no.
Oh, it's so good. I'm on episode, I think it's 7 now.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more intense as it's going along. It's really good. If you're looking for a fun drama that's quite, it's about half-hour long episodes each, but it's really, really fantastic. Good fun. Story of a gangster mob guy who's been away for 25 years to protect the Don, and he keeps his mouth shut for 25 years. Comes out and finds out he's been sort of put to pasture. So he gets sent to Ohio, Tulsa. I think it's in Ohio, something like that. Americans can tell me. And he's basically has to start all over again. He has like a stipend that he gets from the mob, but he just sets up business. He first takes over a cannabis shop. He says he's going to run protection for them from the police and everything. Well, we don't have any problems with the police. He just says, yeah, it doesn't matter. You know, he just knocks the security guy out. And there's a girl there who doesn't like the fact he didn't use her correct pronouns, and he just tells her what's what. No, it's just really, really good. And yeah, it's about his reconnection with his daughter and his relationship with the mob.
Yeah.
And then he comes a cropper with the local motorcycle gang, run by a mad Irishman. Stereotype there again, Noel.
This fella is unbelievable. He says, "Hi, my name is Andrew Johns, and everyone hates me on Twitter and YouTube, and they hate me at the town of Barry, South Wales, where my family lives." Right. I can explain why everybody hates you, and if you're actually willing to listen, right, then you might be able to get people to like you. But you see the kind of behavior now. You're coming in here, right? You even tried to follow me on Instagram, by the way, which I've blocked you. You're not going to start messing on Instagram. I'm not going to put up with that crap. But it's because you go around trolling people. You're not coming across as a very nice person. So if you want people to like you, you've got to be nicer and more accepting of other people's opinions and stuff like that. It's not all about you, you know? We all have to live on this planet together. So, you know, it's time that you get your act together and grow up, really. You know, how long are you trolling now? You're trolling 7-8 years or something. Do you not think you should get a new hobby? Do something with your life. Because this is not a great existence at all. So if you want people to like you, try be nicer. And if you're nicer to people, well, then maybe they'll start treating you nice. Remember, you have to earn people's respect. You know, you don't just get people's respect, and you have to treat people kind if you want to be treated the same way. Remember, you're treated the way you treat other people. That's what I believe. So if you're going around doing what you're doing, you know, you don't realize, you know,
oh my God,
how much, you know, what you do affects people out there. It doesn't affect me. Obviously, I don't care what you do, but you're affecting other people. So yeah, people give you a lot of stick because, you know, you make all of these promises, like a lot of the other side do. They make all these promises that they're gonna try be more tolerant and be understanding of other people's opinions. And then what happens? Within a week or two, you go back on your, well, not even a week or two, a couple of days, you go back on your word. So why should people trust you? You know, and you're wasting your money. There's another 20. I mean, you should stop wasting your money now at this stage. I feel like I'm robbing a bank here or something. Try living my life. Try living. I mean, family with no. As I said, if you treat people nice, then, you know. Well, I mean, look. I used to worry, will people show up at my funeral? But who gives a flying fuck? We're going to be dead. You know? That's the way you should look at it. Just go out there and be a nicer person and people will treat you nice. And if people don't treat you nice, then don't have them around. Simple as that. You keep good people around you like I do. You mightn't think they're good people, but they are good people. Right? So that's what you need to do. Go out there and make friends. You need to make friends. You need to get out there. You shouldn't be spending your time on the internet 24/7 trolling people. It really is a sad existence. Get out there and make friends. Get a hobby. Do something. And you'll feel a lot better. Trust me. Everybody needs a hobby. I used to play football back in the day. That was my hobby. Every Tuesday and Thursday nights, I would go football with the lads. There'd be 10 of us, 5 aside. We'd rent out a hall, a school hall, right, for 30 quid an hour or two. I think it was 2 hours. right? We all chipped in, and we'd go in there 2 hours and have a game of ball. And we love it. We go home, have air showers, and then meet up and go to the pub and have a pint. Go out and make friends. It's not hard. No, some people out there can be assholes nowadays, but trust me, there are some good people out there. We got another super chat as well from another Canadian super chat, $2. What do you
Welcome,
think?
fellow Canadian.
What do you think about the upcoming Last of Us show? Well, we did bring that up, but I don't think the two lads are gonna watch it.
No.
I was going to ask you, Chris, just before you go, because Lee obviously was talking about the TV show that he's watching right now at the moment. But someone brought up the Sarah Connor Chronicles. You did watch that show, didn't you?
I have actually. I've heard good things about it, although I know it also got canceled midstream, I believe, with a cliffhanger. I've been meaning to watch it for, God, it ended in 2009, so for like 13 years.
Yeah.
One of these days I will watch it because I have heard good things, but it's also, I hate getting, this is another reason why I hate Netflix. I hate getting into shows and it ending on a cliffhanger. Anybody remember how Alf ended? He got apprehended. We never found out.
Yeah. We don't even talk about, please don't talk about Alf. Okay. Don't. That traumatized me as a kid. It traumatized me, man.
There's still time, and I know you're all gonna, you know what I'm gonna complain about, because it was my pet peeve. If I had Grumpy Chris's biggest pet peeve of 2022, it was the cancellation of Archive 81, which I keep talking about over and over again.
Great
awesome show. One of the best things Netflix has put out. And what did they do? Cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Canceled.
Well, yeah, that's another thing that I don't understand about streaming services either. They will have these shows that are highly popular with everybody, right? And they'll do a season or they'll cancel it mid-season. Why do they do that, Chris? Is it because of finances, or is it just stupid decisions being made?
Okay, so okay, Netflix, and this is why I was saying this goes so far from their culture of adequate work will get you fired. They throw so much crap out there, and they'll have the occasional show that gets picked up, but they'll also put out good shows. And what happened with Archive 81 is what happened with Netflix. I found out about it by accident because it just happened to be on the new releases list. I didn't see any publicity, nothing for this. And this could have been a Stranger Things show, and it has a diverse cast, and I didn't care because it was brilliant. It doesn't have any woke garbage in it. And they didn't push it. It was buried with all the other crap they were putting out. This was shortly before their stock tanked. And Netflix has done this with several shows. It's just stupidity. I'm like, had you pushed this or even pushed it after the fact, you could have had another Stranger Things, but you canceled it. And then shortly after that, we get Pregnant Dude. It's yeah. And even shows that I guess had a little bit of a following, that atrocity of a Sabrina show, which should have been good. It had all the ingredients, but it went the way we thought. But even a show like that just gets, apparently it got canceled near the end, so nobody will find out what happens with that either. After like 4 seasons, they got Ozark, which was one of their best shows. It was supposed to have 2 seasons. Like, no, just finish it up in 1. Canceled that. I'm like, Netflix, you suck. Oh, yeah.
Is it because Netflix have this thing that if I wrote a script or something, I can ring them up and say, here, listen, I think I have a great script here. I can go and meet them up and something, and like if they think your script is good, they'll give you the money. Is that what's happening here with some shows? After the 4th season, they realize, that this isn't actually as good as we thought, so maybe we'll just can it. You think there's a bit of that going on?
Well, I don't think they're reading some of this because, well, it's slowing down now because they're in a little bit of a kerfuddle. Is that the word? whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, I
a
don't know.
A kerbubble of poop. But yeah, so they're not, so they can't, but it was for years. It was from about 2018 through 2019 through 2020, where it's like every day there's like a couple new shows on Netflix, and I'd watch. So and you had the woke issue, but some of this, it was just, my God. I'm like, actually, I was Lee and I were texting. I actually think you were in it too. That Christmas movie I watched the other day because I was bored. I was just waiting for my my dinner to finish. I'm like, I'll just play some random movie on Netflix. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I'm like, is there any quality control? I'm like, no, it's just.
Do you know what I love that Netflix did? And in my opinion, they actually killed it off too early. And I think they did. I think it was supposed to get more seasons, but it didn't. But Lost in Space, their version of Lost in Space was
That
actually very good. I love that show, but to me, it just ended too quickly. I was pissed when they said there was only one more season. I said, you could at least get another 3 or 4 seasons out of this. Easy, man. And they just decided to fucking, like they do with everything, cancel it. That's what I mean. You can't. This is what I don't like about modern TV nowadays. Or you can't get attached to anything because you don't know how long they're gonna last. Do you know, like when we watched TV shows like Lost back in the day, or some people loved Prison Break, like that went on for 7 or 8 bleeding seasons, like Game of Thrones as well.
And then
You
we
know
got
what
the
I mean?
endings to those shows.
Fair enough, the endings were shite, but what I'm saying was, it's at least they were around for 7 or 8 years. They became, I mean, Lost at the time. That was the TV show that was the big thing all around the world that everybody was talking about. And then Game of Thrones obviously came along, and that was the same thing that obviously became one point it was a cultural icon, but then obviously the end of it didn't really do too good. House of the Dragon now seems to be picking up where Game of Thrones first started, and we got a brilliant 4th season. Can't wait for season 2.
Not
But
finished it
again,
yet. No
the
spoilers.
House of I won't. But again, with House of the Dragon, we don't know how many seasons of that show we're going to get. So even though I'm enjoying it, right, I can't get attached to it because I know further down the line they're probably going to fucking can it or something. That's my thing about modern TV today. You can't get attached to stuff. Not the way we did when we were growing up. We got attached to a lot of stuff. That's the difference. This is why these fans will never understand us, where we're coming from, because they can move on like Locust Lee, as you know. They move on from franchise to franchise after they've ruined it. They don't get attached. And I see that's the way Hollywood is doing things now, or the industry is doing things now. They're making all of these shows. They don't really care about quality, Lee. And then they fucking can them. You can't get attached, can you?
I find it quite difficult. Yeah, I mean, as Chris said, Archive 81 was a great show, great potential, and we got robbed. I remember this was before the streaming issues. I think American TV tends to cancel things like that. In the UK, we're used to things. If things are going to get cancelled, they usually do one more series first and wrap everything up. That's how it works here. But in America, they can just cut it like that, and you're lost. I remember when they brought
Fox was bad for
V
that.
back. V. When they brought that back, it came back for 2 seasons, reimagined, and I really got into it. I quite enjoyed it. It was not as good as the original, obviously, but I enjoyed
But
having
still, it
V.
was something you enjoyed, and
and
as
it
you
was
were getting
taken away.
into it, you canned it. That's
It's
what I
all,
mean.
yeah. It was just season 2 at the end. There was the final. The V's were doing their invasion of Earth, and then that was left on a cliffhanger. It's always it's always when they leave you on a cliffhanger. I get it, but you're setting it up for the next season. When you don't deliver that, I mean, it's just so frustrating. There's
you
nothing
think
wrapped
if
up.
they-
There's
Yeah, do you think they should wrap it if they know that they're not going to do another season? Do you think, or even if they're halfway through the season and then the studio makes the decision that they're not actually going to renew it, do you think then
I
that the
think
studio
if
should be
you
responsible,
are
bring back the actors to reshoot a different ending so it is
no, but I
actually
think they should
bookended?
do. They should commit to doing. If they start a series and then they say it will last X amount of episodes, one season, maybe 2 seasons, and then we'll extend if it goes on. If we decide to cancel it at any point, we reserve to produce a final standalone episode or something, or a special,
Yeah.
or something to wrap it
Like
up.
what they
At
did with
least
Firefly.
something.
Like what they did with Firefly. Firefly, the TV
Mm.
show, was obviously canned by Fox because that's what Fox bloody does. And then
Mhm.
obviously a movie then was made a few years later. Obviously, the man in question that made the movie is now obviously being cancelled. But it was a great series. The movie kind of did tie up some of the it did tie up the loose ends, but it was nice that the story was completed. But I get where you're coming
Well, I think
from.
they owe it to
And
the
it is
audience.
frustrating. Yeah.
The audience are the ones who are
Invested.
keeping these studios and people, afloat. Look, I get it if they're not getting the numbers of people watching, but we've seen things like Rings of Power and all this. Millions and millions of dollars put into it. No one's fucking watching that, but
Yeah,
they commit to
Batwoman,
making them
or
anyway.
whatever her name was, Batgirl.
Things that we
that
actually
fucking
love, they cancelled without buy or
Yeah.
leave. I think that's disrespectful to your audience who are investing
Yeah.
their time and their money to watch these things, just to then be sort of shat on from a great height
I agree.
without a buy or leave or thanks.
Yeah.
I think they could at least thank the audience for being loyal, and produce at least something to wrap it up. I think that's
I
fair.
agree. I agree, man.
What's that got to
They've
do
been
with
doing it.
Hollywood?
They've been doing it for years, though.
I mean,
haven't
they got The
It's
Simpsons on
ridiculous.
Fox. The Simpsons that runs and runs. Who's watching The Simpsons anymore? Yet it still goes on. Is it
Yeah.
still going on?
That
Yeah.
stopped being funny after.
Same with Walking Dead.
for
That went on
me,
forever. People stopped watching.
I think that stopped being funny after season 11. The Simpsons. I think it's yeah.
I struggled through until 2008, and then
Did
I
you?
haven't watched it since.
Yeah, I won't watch it anymore. I'll remember The Simpsons for what it was. We got a couple of other super chats, so we'll just get them out of the way real quickly. But we have Who Dis with another Canadian $5 super chat. The only shows going for Netflix right now are Arcane and Edge Runners with a winky
I haven't seen Edge Runners.
emoji.
But Arcane,
and there's another
I
super
absolutely
chat.
loved. I loved Arcane. Arcane is fantastic. I hope
Andrew-
the second season will.
Is that
will
is
be
that
as good
the
as
is that the animated show?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I was
Absolutely
recommended that. Oh,
fantastic.
actually, I need to give a shout out as well. She's not in the chat, but she is watching. My original co-host Tony is. We're just kind of chatting here in the background, but she
Oh.
is watching us live. I don't know. Do you guys remember Tony? That was kind of before your time.
Yeah, before our time.
But
mate,
she was
before.
she was my co-host for series or Doctor Who series. What series did the show go to hell again? Series 11, back in 2018. So Tony, we say hi. And yes, I believe that's the show that she was recommending to me earlier today. So yeah, I need to check that out now because I've been recommended it twice.
Andrew not being nice to Beth there, saying that she wrote the worst quiz book from By the Woke. Beth from the Time Ladies for Christmas from my auntie in Barry. Look, again, see, again, what did I just say to you a few minutes ago? See, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about, right? That's not going to help you. But again, thanks for wasting your money. I mean, if you want to keep wasting your money, fine. I'm not going to stop you, but I think it's ridiculous now.
It's a lot of pineapple pizza.
It is a lot of pineapple pizza, yeah. Let me see. We've got Nicholas says Arcane was great. Can't wait for season 2. And Jinx is my favorite character. What else have we got there? The Masters of the Universe, the 2002 Masters of the Universe TV cartoon show was cancelled halfway during the second season. It was originally planned for 78 episodes, and only 39 episodes were complete and broadcast.
I think I remember that.
Again, though, you know, if they're going to do all of these, do you know what boils my? It's the lack of respect for the stuff that we grew up with that I can't tolerate. Like, you can, you know, you can give credit to people for trying, and if it doesn't work, you say, right, you gave it your best shot, right? But that's not even happening either. It's the lack of respect for characters, their legacy, and you've got idiots that are going in that know nothing about the character, nothing about the legacy, nothing about the history, nothing about the canon, and completely rewrite the character. That's what boils my blood the most about all of this, is the destruction of our favorite characters because of the lack of respect that they have for them. And we've seen it time and time again, Lee, with these writers. I mean, and when they're called out, Lee, then they always go back to, oh, there's a bigot, there's a racist, there's a homo. They never actually come back with a decent rebuttal. You know what I mean? They never have a proper rebuttal. It's just flinging mud.
No, I
It's
mean,
like,
they know that they are incompetent, and so they think they can get away with producing substandard stuff and then just calling everyone who doesn't like it a racist or a bigot, because it saves them. It deflects from them and gets their tiny audience to go after other people, to silence other forms of criticism, legitimate criticism, by referring to all criticism, legitimate or not, as everyone who disagrees or doesn't like it is a bigot. They'll hyper focus on the one or two crazy people who will be the very worst elements, who are probably paid trolls anyway, who say the most vile stuff that is racist or bigoted in some way. They'll hyper focus on that, then tar everyone else with the same brush, regardless. You know, it's been working for them for too long. It's not working anymore. They need to realize it's not working anymore, because people have become inoculated against being called racists and bigots and, you know, all the rest of it. I mean, today I've been called a homophobe multiple times by one person who calls himself a queer man or a gay man that defends having sex with vaginas. Fine if you want to do that, but don't tell me that's gay. So I just find the whole thing is a process of trying to change language, trying to change culture through language, trying to change how the audience see themselves in each other, creating a distress and distrust, and it just fuels the hatred for mass media. They're sinking their own ship and then blaming us. Yeah. It's insane. That's not a really good business model, I don't think, particularly.
No, I think it's brilliant.
What, the Twin Peaks
reboot? No, I was being sarcastic, but it fell flat and died.
Did it? It was actually crap, was it? Because they hyped that up as well, didn't they? The Twin Peaks thing. I remember that.
Actually, Noel, I was really excited to watch that, and like 4 years ago, I bought it on Blu-ray, and it's still sealed.
Yeah,
I actually forgot that I'd bought it until it's Who dis now? Never mind.
Tony didn't know what she was doing at the time.
I see. They're. I'm not saying anything. There may be some tomfoolery afoot, but I say not what this tomfoolery is. I just be here.
Did you just assume the foolery's agenda there? Did you?
No. I don't know. I don't have a gender.
I'm a tomboy.
I'm a stick figure.
Tomboy foolery.
Yeah,
Tom
look at it.
non-gender
Look at his little avatar there, little stick figure with a hat. Isn't that great? Isn't that
I don't
great?
have a gender. I'm stick figure. I
Yeah,
don't exist.
He's stick gender. Stick gender. Just remember, right? Yeah, I think we're all moving. I've been trying to get in touch with Elon Musk. By the way, I've asked him for a seat on his rocket to Mars. I'm gonna move to Mars. Bring Cheryl and Ted with me. And all I've requested off Elon is that he makes sure that there's decent Wi-Fi on Mars before I move to Mars, because I'm getting off this fucking planet. You're all a bunch of crazies. I'm gone. I'm done.
It's
wish.
look at it as it's not real. It's something that you're just watching on a TV, Sony TV, and it's fun because you pretend it's not real.
Warped eyebrow too says, "What's the topic of the night?" Well, we've kind of talked about all the topics that are scrolling underneath now, so we're just kind of talking about other stuff now. But I feel that there's going to be a Sony Panasonic talk going on soon with these two. I just see Howard the Duck popped up, one of the worst movies ever made. But there you go. That's just my opinion on that one. Yeah. Oh, look, Mr. Dingles is back.
He's I said before, he's not dead. Whenever I get around to doing my horror videos, the goat is going to he's going to review bad movies. Except the goat is still on vacation. Somebody sent me an update. He was causing traffic accidents and apparently pooping on a road. He's somewhere in Europe. I don't know where, but it's
Chris. I've got a confession to make.
What'd you do to Dinkles?
Well, you see, I was looking for some lovely lamb chops. So yeah, he's in me belly. He's gone.
What? No, he's not. Take care, who we don't know.
Well, apparently out of beers, so I need to go and get more. Catch you all later. Well, enjoy your beers, and thanks for joining us. And thank you,
person who we don't know.
Super chats.
It's a mystery. This is nobody I know. It's just it's a thing. Oh wait, yeah, I gotta change this here. Just give me a second. Just so let's see. What am I gonna do here next? Oh, I got a whole bunch of things. Okay, there we go. I'll just leave that up.
Right. Yeah, you back?
No, I was waiting for the Panasonic thing to come up.
Oh, well, yeah. Are we going to start this nonsense again? Listen, I've already settled this argument. Sony is better than Panasonic, so just leave it out, man.
Well, apparently, someone who worked at a Sony factory said that Sony used Panasonic equipment in their products. So just saying.
Well, at one point, actually, in fact, Sony a few years ago experimented with they tried to have a budget line. It was very bad. That's probably where those parts ended up. They don't do the budget line.
Oh, probably to fit my normalcy bias. Yeah, bollocks.
Chris Holton wants to know, did you make a snowman in your 2 foot of snow?
I should have, although he'd be melted and dead now. I should have. It would have been an angry snowman because I actually had a mountain in my front yard and I was going to call it Mount Asshole, but I never got around to. I could have done that. Well, I'm sure it'll happen again. Sony and Panasonic are in Wales. Yeah, well, Panasonic is not in North America because what happened? Oh, things got tough and they ran away like a little baby bitch. So we got Sony one.
Apparently, Mr. Dinkles has been spotted in Wales, according to disaster area there.
What's he doing there?
Apparently, he's visiting some sheep.
No, he's not allowed to. He's banned from Wales because he was mean to a certain TV show in Cardiff. You're not allowed to go to Wales.
Oh, LG is the worst.
Barry Island. I'm sure a sheep will be very safe in Barry Island. I mean, a goat.
No, he's a tough dude, man. He's the latest update is he's not a professor anymore though. He had his doctorate. It was stripped because he said naughty things on Twitter. So now he's just Mr.
no.
Dinkles, but he's fighting to get it reinstated.
Well, maybe we should start the hashtag justice for Professor Dinkles.
No,
There
he
you
doesn't.
go.
He doesn't want the hashtag
Publicity. Oh, he doesn't want the publicity. All right. Well, he is a bit of a dick, but there you go.
Oh no, he's an asshole. He's mean. He's really mean.
Yeah. But we do miss him, don't we, folks? We do. Daniel says that LG is the worst, though. LG, yeah, I've always found when I've had any LG equipment, it doesn't fucking last long. So from my personal experience, LG is.
I've never had any
crap,
problem
yeah.
with LG.
I have. If you look at my YouTube channel, you could watch one of my LG monitors die in real time, and then you could watch me unbox the LG monitor that I bought to replace it. And that thing bit the dust like 2-3 years ago. Yeah. So
someone is trying to.
No. He's not. He doesn't put up with that. No, he knows kung fu.
He's in a Nigerian curry right now.
He's got he's got horns. You don't want to piss this goat. You've seen the goat when he's mad. He's a scary goat.
Jamie says they can't get ITVX on my Sony TV, but I think that is more of an ITV issue than anything. Yeah, they've been really pushing that. When I've been watching ITV over the Christmas period, I've noticed that they've been pushing this with ads with celebrities in it to try and push this streaming service. It's kind of interesting that they're doing ITVX when they still, as far as I'm aware, they still have some stake in BritBox. So it kind of, are they trying to kill BritBox now? I don't know, but I don't see ITVX doing very well. But there you go. You never know. I think that's their answer to iPlayer, isn't it? BBC iPlayer. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't look like my cup of tea anyway, I have to tell you.
Do they make you pay for this ITVX thing?
They say it's free.
Well, it's like in Canada, the CBC app is free and nobody wants to watch it. So you can give me a free bag of shit like we see in that. See that's what like they're offering. It's free. It's a bag of shit. I don't care. It's going to slow down the browser. You go away.
Holden is watching Dirty Harry now. I remember those movies with Clint Eastwood. Yeah,
I'll watch that again.
I haven't watched that franchise in a while, man. Yeah, that's Clint Eastwood.
But I own everything. Eastwood, yeah. I have no life.
I love his spaghetti westerns, though. You know, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Now we're just making noises.
That's a deadly movie, I have to say. They switched off my ITV hub when they launched ITVX. So weeks later, they switched my ITV hub back on. Says it all. Okay, so ITVX is already failing, is what you're telling me.
It could be any worse than CNN Plus. It lasted 3 weeks.
There you go. I mean, they all
4
think
weeks
they're being
too long.
Yeah, I mean, look, the streaming platforms, I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to last. I don't think this is the future.
Oh, no, it is, but what's going to happen is most of them are going to implode, and then we'll go back to having 3 amalgams of certain streaming networks. Netflix...
Which ones will survive? Yeah, which of the 3 that will survive?
I read an article that apparently Gen Z are.
Oh yeah, they can't watch anything that isn't. Yeah, they can't watch TV. TikTok is
no. They're watching broadcast television now more than they are watching streaming stuff. Isn't that interesting?
It's free. If you got an antenna.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Although here's my prediction though. You're gonna have 3. So Amazon has more money than God. So it's going to be Amazon, and they'll probably buy out a bunch of them. Some amalgam of what is currently Disney Plus, Star, Hulu, and whatever buys them. And then I have a feeling you will have the Netflix name, but it won't be owned by Netflix. Somebody at some point is going to buy Netflix because Netflix is going to implode, but the name will be around and then they'll own everything. But right now it's like I don't care what's on the other streaming services because I have like one day to solve my resolution. I have 4 streaming services that I'm still paying for, and I was going to get rid of one this year, although I think Disney's going to be getting the axe. I got until tomorrow to make up my mind because I made that resolution on January 1st of this year.
We got another 2 super chats. £2 from Andrew Jones again. I'm just getting to the stage where I'm just going to throw them up on the screen real quickly. Just acknowledge that he gave them, but not read out what he's saying because clearly, he hasn't listened to anything that I've said tonight. Freeview by Amazon is good, but they decided to make it work on Sony, all platforms. ITV take no LOL. And according to Nicholas, ITVX is only free for a certain number of days. Then you have to pay. It's always the way with those.
Aren't they covered under your license fee? I can never figure out how that works.
Should be.
Actually, ITV should be, shouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, the license fee covers what? BBC, ITV, and Channel 4?
No, Channel 4 is public.
Oh, it's independent. Yeah,
ITV is a public company, but you still have to have a TV license to watch it. So
technically,
there you are.
Yeah, so technically, you should get ITVX for free.
Yeah, I would. That would be the way. It's a
That's
really.
The way it is now. Everything now, everything that was once free has now got a meter on it. I just find the whole thing reducing. I mean, in an age where people are struggling more and more and more as everything gets hyperinflated and resources are, truncated. Expecting people to splash more and more money on things like entertainment, it's a luxury, and these companies just do not seem to understand that there is a limited budget for this sort of thing, and it's getting smaller and smaller every month. And expecting us to pay for things that were once free, people just don't respond well to that, especially when the content's shit.
Yeah,
really.
Yep,
I agree. Someone needs to buy Paramount Plus. I'm not going to continue to pay for just Star Trek, says Jamie.
Paramount is, they've been struggling for a long time. This experiment, given that it's run by their flagship is Star Trek, and only one show is good, the other is crap. Paramount is like Warner; they're in trouble. I would. My guess, although it's been rumored for years anyway, at some point a merger between Paramount and Netflix. And then that way you get a combined site. I don't know who would buy out who because they're both up Poop Creek right now. Maybe somebody will just buy out both of them. Not Disney. Disney, no, that would be terrible. Well, which companies are not? Well, Sony's not in a disaster because it's Sony. Yeah, just let Sony buy them. Put it under Columbia.
Holden says no Wurzel Gummidge this year. They didn't do any in the Mackenzie Crook Wurzel Gummidge this year, which was unusual considering it's been a success. But yeah, that was I was hoping to see that over the Christmas, but it never actually happened. But let's hope they bring it back. Andrew Jones again with another super chat. Jesus. £5 this time.
You gotta add up what he's given you this, and then we'll find out, and then it's all gonna go to pineapple pizzas.
Yeah. Well, look, all I can say is we all have our struggles in life. But that said, we don't all act like complete dickheads.
That's an appropriate way of putting it. But at least he's paying your rent this month, so I don't know. So, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, he'll pay for maybe Howard the Duck or something.
Oh wait,
something
no,
like
you
that,
need
I
a.
mean.
Do you still need a new TV?
What?
Do you still need a new TV?
Actually, I could invest maybe in a new TV. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We. Okay. So that's what. Okay. So Noel's going to get a new TV. There we go. And what brand is it going to be, Noel?
Sony, of course.
Damn right. We don't want that exploding Poopasonic in our houses.
Sucker, I've always went for Sony. I have a Sony PlayStation. I'm loyal to Sony anyway. So I had a Sony laptop years ago as well. I'll buy out in Sony.
I missed the Walkman.
My first Walkman was Sony, obviously, because Sony were the first ones to do Walkmans, I think. But there you go. Sony was my first Walkman. Same with the CD disc, the portable CD disc player, the Discman, the Sony again. I've always bought Sony, so I'm not going to change. You're not winning me over with the Panasonic argument. I'm loyal to Sony.
How many years have we had this argument going on now?
Since you two guys have met, man, this has been going on.
Couple years. It's tradition.
Another £5 super chat again. So trolling.
So that's going to be the warranty on your new TV.
Good boy. So, yeah. So trolling is just talking. Goodbye, Noel, Chris, and Lee. No. The trolling is when you talked about Bet from the Time ladies to get a reaction out of me. The trolling was when you put up your own home name and address, because somehow then you're going to blame me because you decided to dox yourself. That's trolling. And what you're doing on Twitter. I have you blocked on Twitter, right? So if I have you unblocked on Twitter, what does that mean? It means I don't want to have any communication with you and I don't want you hassling me. But what you keep doing, setting up accounts and following everybody. And now you've even tried to follow me on Instagram, right? That's trolling. That's why people don't want to talk to you. Until you change your behavior and we see a change in your behavior, you're going to be treated the way you get treated all the time, right? And you said you don't like being treated that way. So if you want to be treated better, you've got to treat other people better. It's a two-way street here, right? Okay? You earn someone's respect. You earn someone's loyalty. We don't just switch because you decide, oh, I'm not going to troll today. That's not how it works. You don't troll at all. Trolling is bad. Full stop. It's bad. Caused an awful lot of damage. Society is fucked because of social media, in my opinion, right? But it's bad. You need to stop. You're allowed to say Doctor Who's woke under Jodie and Chris, but I say the same thing as trolling. Yeah, because you don't believe it. You've been trolling me for the last 5 years, telling me that I'm wrong about Doctor Who. Now you're telling me that you've all of a sudden changed your mind and you're on my side of the argument. I don't buy it. Chris doesn't buy it. Lee doesn't buy it. And everybody in this chat doesn't buy it, Andrew. Do you know why? Because you've said this several times over the years. Right?
Moving on.
But hold on. No, one more thing, and I will draw a line under it tonight. Right? But here's the thing. We've tried different approaches with you already. Right? We've tried ignoring it. That doesn't work. Right? We've tried reason with you. That doesn't work. We've tried to just basically ignore you. That doesn't work. Right? We've tried everything. Right? So we're not going to try anymore. So as I said, I'm drawing a line under this tonight. Right? This is what I want from you. I have you blocked. I don't want that to do with you. So just move on. Right? If I see you try add me again, then that's it then. You've lost all chance of trying to convince me that you can change. Right? So I'm moving on now. Done. Anyway, so what Wurzel Gummidge is on hiatus for a while, says Nicholas Horton. So that's the reason why it wasn't on. And people Yeah, it doesn't. Well, I mean, he's here and he's giving super chats, and if I don't read them out, like, you know what I mean, you have to. That's the thing, you know. But I'm done talking about it now. I just don't know what to say to you anymore. I'm actually trying to help you here, but you obviously don't want this, so we'll leave it there because we've got more important things to be doing anyway and to be talking about. But yeah, what do you think of the online bill should do? Obviously, they're talking about this social media bill that they're pushing through. They're doing one in Ireland as well. Well, Europe, the whole of Europe. It's not going far enough. But you see, the problem is that they'll use it to target people like Lee, myself, and Chris instead of actually targeting the people that they should be targeting, the actual proper trolls. There will be abuse of that law, in my opinion, and people will abuse it to basically flex themselves. I don't think it's again, as I said, you can't trust that nowadays. I mean, Piers Morgan was talking about on his channel. He was literally sent death threats. Had the police investigated, he went a whole 8 months investigating this, and then they couldn't actually prove, even though they had the evidence there right in front of them, they don't know what computer he wrote these on because it obviously wasn't his home computer. So they can't charge him, this fella that sent the threats and sent it to his kids as well. Right? So online thing, for me personally, I don't know if the lads agree, but for me, these platforms need to be taking more responsibility anyway. They shirk their responsibilities. What they're basically doing is they're trying to make the platform safer for the usual crowd that like everything seems to be focused on, and they're too busy doing all of that rather than actually getting rid of the people that they should be getting rid of and protecting people. But it's social media platforms, in my opinion. I don't know what the lads think. We'll get their opinion on it, but I think they need to play a bigger part here. After all, they're the ones that are running the platforms. So should they not be responsible for people's safety? You know what I mean? And shouldn't there not be a process in place that if the police are investigating, that social media companies help the police in their investigation by actually tracking these so-called trolls and their messages? So I don't know what you guys think personally. I know you've been, and Chris, you both have been personally affected by trolls on social media. I mean, even Lee today, yesterday, since he's been back, he's been constantly bombarded by what I would consider trolls. Lads, do you think this bill goes far? Do you think this online bill will do anything? Do you think social media companies should actually,
I
be
don't
the
trust
one?
it because all these bills, which all have the bells and whistles of good intent, usually hide a much more sinister maneuver, really, to try
Yep.
and control what people say and do on the internet. It's one step closer to social credit scoring, censorship online, constant monitoring, policing of people's opinions and views. And they always dress up in this flowery language. Oh, it's about protecting people from trolls.
Yeah.
Oh, it's about this. It's about... No, it's not. If that was what it... I think a lot of these things, like trolling behavior and things, are allowed to happen on social media. If you look at Twitter 1.0, they knew that a lot of these accounts were bots. They knew a lot of these accounts were trolls, but they allowed them to propagate and take over the platform and to produce some of the worst abuses online you can imagine. But they allow that to flourish. And it's the old Hegelian dialectic, isn't it? You know, the cause the problem, then offer the solution. It's all about control. I would love there to be more action taken against trolling, but I think there are existing laws that are there in place anyway, but they're not acted upon properly. they're not applied properly. The will has to be there to tackle those things within the companies themselves, according to the laws of the individual country states, but they're not. Introducing new bills like this is just another excuse to take people's liberties from them, rather than actually tackling. It won't tackle the problem. You know, trolls will still be allowed to troll as long as they are state agreed sponsors.
Yep.
And it'll be the quote unquote wrong thinkers who will be targeted. It will be highly selective. It won't benefit the likes of you and me, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That exactly. It's that's exactly what it is. It won't benefit us, and it won't actually do what it says on the tin. We've already seen Twitter. Obviously, the Twitter files, all of that. We won't get into it because I don't want to get into politics. But we've seen what the former regime at Twitter were actually doing. We got another couple of super chats, a £2 and a £5 one. I know, and Elon trolls by Andrew. Andrew, listen, one more thing. Don't waste any more of your money. If you want to write something in the chat, go ahead. But don't waste any more of your money now. I'm actually serious, man. It's getting ridiculous now at this stage. But Chris, you wanted to add something to that.
I was going to say, yeah, I agree with Lee. There's always going to be something. There's always something nefarious behind these things. It will never, ever be doled out equally. It's always going to be the one side that isn't approved, basically us, that will take the brunt of it, and it'll be like it's always been. Those that are on the right side, even though they're the ones that are often doing the evil, will be the ones that get away with it. Oh, and one thing I just wanted to let you know, if you're in Canada, this was also my big thing of the day that I kept meaning to bring up. So if you're in Canada, Amazon.ca has a one-day sale, Lord of the Rings 4K, for 43% off, which I did buy because I've been waiting for this to go on sale for a reasonable price for years. So I was going to shout this out. So I finally got the extended editions, which I have never seen because
my God, Jeremy,
I didn't buy it. I didn't. No, I never got the Blu-ray. I have the original that came out back in I think 2010 that has the studio cuts. For some reason, never got around to getting the extended on Blu-ray, and then it ended up going out of print. So they came out with the 4Ks, which have always the average selling price is like 110 to 120 bucks. So I've been waiting since these came out. So I think almost 2 years now. Is it? When did this come out? I just got it on the Amazon here. Yeah, 2 years ago, December 2020.
So how much did you pay for?
So the normal selling price, so this is Canadian, $114.99. Today, as far as I know, I think it's just today. It's on for 43% off. So it's $64.99. So it's the full set. It includes the extended and theatrical cuts in the fancy packaging. So I've been waiting for 2 years for this to go for a reasonable price. So I figured, I don't know. I think there's a few Canadians in the chat, but if you're looking to get this, this is the best you're ever going to see it for. And it's a palette cleanser from that other Lord of the Rings. That was Lord of the Rings, not even a name only.
But I agree with Disaster Area in the chat there. I watched all 3 extended versions last Christmas. Best trilogy ever. That's the best way to watch that movie. You have to watch the extended versions. Don't get me wrong. The cinematic releases are great, but the extended versions are much better. Now there is a lot of dialogue, but you get a lot more. The extended versions I would recommend.
Yeah, and Daniel says this is the good. Yeah, it's the good Lord of the Rings, and I would say I don't even know if it's on sale today, but pass on the Hobbit because the Hobbit extended editions give you pretty much nothing.
Yeah,
because it was sort of padded to begin with, so this is even more padded.
Yeah, the first Hobbit movie was actually decent, and I thought we were going to be on. He was on to another winner, but then obviously when he split, people weren't happy, and then all shit broke loose. And to be honest, the next 2 movies weren't as good as the first one.
That's because when he started shooting. And when most of the first movie was shot, it was originally supposed to be 2 movies. They had almost finished most of the principal photography for what was to be the first movie, when the studio unfortunately decided, no, we want to make this 3 movies. See, you have to feel bad for Peter Jackson because the first movie is good, the other 2 don't really hang together. And that's because he had to pad out what was supposed to be 1 movie into 2 movies, and that's why it's the mess that it is. So don't blame Peter Jackson, blame the studio.
Yeah. I mean, I was pissed, I have to be honest. Because the Force movie, as you said, is a great movie, and I thought, oh man, he's gonna give us another brilliant franchise. And the second movie, as you said, when it was split, because the studio insisted, it felt like the second one. It started, and then they kind of like because obviously you left on a bit of a cliffhanger on the Force one, and then like they sorted out that cliffhanger, and then the movie just went on a tangent on its own. It just went.
It needs a reverse extended cut. If you cut out all the bullshit and there's hours of bullshit, it's literally it's based on the story of The Hobbit, which is not a long story to begin with. 1 movie would have done it fine, but his original plan was sound. It's just, how do you take something where you don't have much to work with in the first place and turn what is supposed to be like 1 2-hour movie into 2 2-hour movies? So basically you have to come up with 2 hours of filler. So I think what they need is almost a reverse extended edition, which I think would work. And I think maybe redo some of the effects, just update a little bit because it is 10 years old now.
Yeah.
But no, I think what I would love to see is, come out with the definitive Hobbit. Maybe do the 2, but even just edit it into like 1 long 3-hour movie and cut out all the bullshit. There's a good movie in there. The problem is it takes forever to get there. Well,
Yeah.
movies.
No, you're right. You're right. Even with the third one, I just thought even what was it, something of the 5 armies or whatever it was fucking called. I mean, even the battle scene in that was a pale on what we had gotten from
Again, it
Peter
came down to
Jackson.
time. Like
Yeah,
those effects for the first Lord of the Rings trilogy, I'm like, they were in the making for years. I'm like, New Line Cinema bet their entire company on this because if you don't know, before that, the biggest thing they had was A Nightmare on Elm Street. They were originally a horror company, but they bet everything on it. And the effects, even though we're talking early 2000s, well, I think a lot of this was done in 99, or principal photography was 99, early 2000, but they've been working on the effects since before that. And I think part of the reason why the effects are lacking, especially in The Hobbit 2 and 3, is because of the new time frame, everything got rushed because instead of having the time to put the 1 movie together, they had to do 2 movies back to back, with largely the same resources, and that's why the effects are a mess, because they literally were thrown together because they were given no time to do it.
a couple of people there saying I saw The Hobbit in the cinema, and it was filmed way too dark. I was done. Disaster area said the 3D spoiled it.
Yep.
Jamie said they Mary sued. Yeah, that's kind of true. Daniel says the Two Towers is my favorite of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I do it. Yeah, everybody has their favorites. It's definitely Two Towers for me as well. Chris, what's your favorite? Lee, actually, never asked you. Did you watch? Are you a fan of the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh,
I
fuck
rewatched
yeah.
it recently. Yeah. I love all 3 of the films. Did a rewatch of all the extended versions, and they are just so good. I mean, I don't think, in terms of spectacular cinema, it's been surpassed since. And that's shocking, really, considering how advanced technology is. But again, if people were more interested in displaying these great stories of old, rather than trying to reimagine it for a modern audience, which just implies that your modern audience is thick as pig shit. You know, I mean, it's so insulting, frankly, and people are calling it out, and rightly so. I don't think we'll ever see anything the likes of the Lord of the Rings trilogy ever again. Currently, anyway, I just think the longer that this woke nonsense goes on with cinema, the more years that happens, the more time you're creating where people who were involved in Hollywood, who were masters of their craft, are going to retire, and that skill set is going to get lost. It's going to get lost.
Yeah.
And I just don't see any way back from that. Once that skill set is gone, like any other craft that, you know, throughout history that was beautifully made and the craft was lost, you just don't know how to make it anymore. You know, whether it be lace ruffs at Queen Elizabeth I, well, no one knows how to make those things anymore. It's things like that. You know, once it's gone, it's gone. And it's the same with this. You know, and this it's much more than a lace maker. This is like a million different types of lace makers making this wonderful holistic piece of craft. And once you start pulling on those bricks out like Jenga, it all collapses. And then, you know, but you just don't have the ability to rebuild from that, because you just
Do you think
people who don't know what they're doing.
Do you think the emergence of CGI and special effects have made, well, not special effects, but CGI have made them lazy? They depend on it too much, because a lot of the franchises
I don't know about that. I mean, okay, there were a lot of practical effects in Lord of the Rings. Obviously, they did some groundbreaking work with that, but there is a huge amount of CGI. I think you have to be, at least as an actor, I mean, where, you know, you're delivering the lines, at least they have to try twice as hard to imagine what's going on for us, you know.
Well, Ian McKellen said when he was filming those movies, it was really hard for him, because obviously it was green screen. So he was literally talking to nobody. So when we see him on screen actually having a dialogue with someone, he's not actually having that dialogue with that person. He has to,
or he's having a dialogue with someone who's, you know, he's supposed to have a direct eye of. Yeah, he's looking directly at someone who's not there, but they're actually further along down the table to look smaller. So there is that as well. But I don't think, I think blaming VFX, special effects, as being the cause of all the problems that we're seeing in Hollywood, I don't think that's true. I think you can have excellent storytelling with excellent effects. Unfortunately, the reliance simply on special effects rather than producing both good stories and special effects has been the problem. I don't necessarily believe that that's just special effects. I just think that it's the writing before any special effects are added to anything is given the green light way before. You know, so I think that, you know, blaming special effects for it, if people are going in to make a film thinking, oh, we'll just fill it in with special effects, we'll just take any old script, that's the problem first. But I don't think it's the special effects themselves that are the problem. I think it's the attitude of these idiots and lazy people who are somehow getting work through Christ knows how. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, love all the movies. It's very hard for me to pick my favorite. You know, I used to think Fellowship was my favorite, then I'd watch it again. I think, well, no, actually, Two Towers is my favorite, and then I watched it again recently, and I was like, maybe it might be Return of the King is my favorite.
That's what I mean. It does vary, but I always seem to go back to Two Towers myself as my favorite. But it does vary. But you are right. It does. It always varies, and people have, you know, they did it in a movie that I watched. What was the movie? It was Clerks 2, where your man goes up to order a burger, and they start talking about Lord of the Rings, and they talk about how many times they've seen each one. I'm the same though, you know. I've always watched. I've watched one more than the rest. Like, I think I've watched Two Towers Return of the King more than I've watched Fellowship.
But isn't it incredible and isn't it amazing that you can watch a film trilogy that expands to it expands to the entirety of an entire day
yeah,
and not be bored?
no,
Yep.
That is not only the joy and the power of the writing from J.R.R. Tolkien right through to the script editing for the transcription to the movie,
and then obviously Peter Jackson's direction, because
and Peter Jackson's direction, and all the actors and all the costumes, the special effects, the practical effects,
The time frame
the
it was made.
cinematography, all of these things, the
Yeah.
holistic. I mean, it was a perfect storm of perfection,
Yeah.
to a love, and you can see that love permeate through everything, right down to the details of the props and everything.
Yep.
The hair,
And
you name it, all thought out, and this is a level of detail and craftsmanship that is simply imitated now, not even aspired to, and that is the problem. People are just trying to do knockoffs of that rather than aspiring to be like that. That's the problem.
Yeah. Right. Well, look, we'll see. Obviously we're going to be back next Friday, guys, and we will obviously continue this particular conversation as well. And I'm pretty sure as the week goes on, we'll have plenty of other stuff to talk about, because the people behind all of these things that we love and know just can't help themselves. So I'm pretty sure there'll be a director out there or a writer out there or someone out there that'll be offended because fans are not happy with what they put out. I mean, my final word is this. I will be back, obviously, tomorrow for New Year's Eve, so it's not the last stream of the year. But I will just say, in 2023, Hollywood needs to, the industry needs to change it up. You cannot maintain this course any longer, because you will see big companies fall. I don't think Disney will fall, but I think in the hearts and minds of people out there, Disney is a tainted brand right now. Now, all of these companies that we're talking about and have spoke about, and everybody talks about on YouTube and on social media platforms, look, they can rescue themselves from all of this. It's simple. It's simple. Just create good TV shows and movies with good stories, good characters, and we'll go and watch.
Hire people who know what they're doing.
They don't anymore. That's the problem, Lee. You're right.
Because they're expensive. It's because they're expensive, and Hollywood thinks that they can cheap out on talent and still produce things that any bugger will watch. But that's proving not to be the case.
Exactly. We want quality over quantity, and that's the problem.
Quality sells.
So quality is what sells. But look, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight, because I am back tomorrow for New Year's Eve, and as we do for New Year's Eve, we'll have a few bevies, and I'm pretty sure people will want to pop on and say wish everybody a happy New Year and have a bit of a chat. So if anybody that's here tonight wants to pop on and have a bit of a laugh and stuff like that for New Year's Eve, if you aren't doing anything else, of course, if you live.
I have a bottle of JD honey
ready.
JD, I have a bottle.
Right, well, Grant. Well, if you want to join me tomorrow, you're more than welcome for New Year, because we always do New Year's together anyway. Chris, I've already invited you.
I'll probably be in and out a couple times, but
that's fine. That's fine. That's the way it'll be, because we'll have. I'm pretty sure
a few hours behind us. Don't forget.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure.
Your New Year's happens at, how bad my math is. I think your New Year's happens at 7:00 here. I get to celebrate it twice.
That's it. Get to celebrate it twice. What time you starting tomorrow at, Noel? I'll start at 9. and then we'll stream until a few minutes after midnight. That's what we do, because at that stage, then I just need to actually go off stream after the beers I've had and stuff, and I get very rowdy as well because New Year's Eve. But yeah, we
I'm
start
going
at
to be
9.
the DD of the stream. I'll be
Yeah,
the
well, I
DD
won't
of the
be.
stream.
I have beers this year. I won't be drinking any hard liquor this year. I have me beers, but I have like 8 of those, so we'll definitely drink all of those while we're on. So yeah, and they're 6%. Some of them are 7. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty fun stream. So come and join us. There'll be plenty of people, I'm pretty sure, because they do every year. People come on and stuff like that, and we'll just have a bit of a laugh, and we'll just be talking. Do you know what we kind of do is we kind of just look over the year, take the piss a little bit, and have a laugh and talk total nonsense. But it's a New Year's Eve stream, so yeah, come and join us for that. So that's what I have coming tomorrow, and we're here every Friday with the lads. And as Daniel there says, and great stream, lads, and thank you for the work you do now. Well, we all do our bit, including yourself, Daniel. So yeah, same to yourself.
Go check out Daniel's channel. Go check it out.
Yeah. We're doing the channel chat. Yeah, I'll do the channels with the channel shouts. You, Brand, you do your own. And Chris
All
will do
right,
his,
all right.
I'll do
Dictator.
Daniel. I already
Jeez.
know. Right, we already know what channels you're gonna flog. Right.
The
Anyway,
shit I have to work with, honestly.
yeah, the Panasonic boy there. Anyway, Chris, we'll start with you. We'll leave Panasonic boy waiting.
right.
Go ahead.
Well, there's still the YouTube channel, which I'm gonna rename it. I'll get to it someday.
I'm going to do a poll next week on Friday Night
What will
Contact.
happen next year?
Right, and I'm gonna ask people, do they want you back? Right?
No, I'm not going back to the stuff I used to do.
Nah, he's not. No, we know you're not going back to the stuff that we want. You want
It
that
will
you used
come.
to do.
I need time. So at some point, but in the meantime, I have my 2 regular streams, so you can catch me here every Friday and Saturdays with Dan from Spacebook. I believe we're still getting back to that in January, and on the Twats, which is now the only social media I use, horror_fan 1978. Yes, I know I need to change that to something a little bit more catchy, like my actual name. But yeah, so that is that.
Fantastic. And next we go to Panasonic boy. Problem being.
Yes, you can find me at The Problem Being on Twitter, where you can watch me have amazing fun times. And my alternative channel is Aldred Audio Visual. All my VFX stuff on there. Please go and check out Mr. Brown Alliance. We do streams usually on Sundays. So you can catch me there, and yeah, there's probably other things. So, follow me on Twitterats and find out what I'm up to.
Fantastic. And you catch me here, and yeah, there's nowhere to catch me, but the channels to look out for: Scottish Davros, Gobby Guy, Jack Main. Who else? There's plenty out there. Type 40. All the usual suspects. You know what to do.
Ian was on earlier. Rebecca Gold.
Yeah, he was there. Rebecca Gold was there as well. Yeah,
Rabbi from Another Planet.
Rabbi, yeah, go and check out Rabbi's channel
Rebecca.
as well. And who else? I think that's it. There's nobody else worth actually mentioning, to be quite honest with you. They're the people that we watch. They're the people that we trust. And we know that there's no bullshit from those. So they're channels that we'd recommend. Go and check them out. There's different things on everybody's channel, and that's the best thing about this community. Everybody does their own little thing and has built up their audience, and that's absolutely great. So yeah, listen, so for anybody that isn't joining me tomorrow for New Year's Eve party, because you actually have a social life and you can actually go out and enjoy yourselves, Happy New Year to you guys. To all you other saddos that are going to be joining me tomorrow, because we all are sad. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for a our New Year's Eve party. And again, I want to thank the two lads for joining me again tonight. I'm actually loving these streams, I have to be honest. So, this week the news was a bit, we didn't have loads really to talk about, because surprisingly in Hollywood, it was actually a quiet week this week. Not too much drama going on, so we didn't have
New Year next
too
week,
much.
man.
But it's a new year next week, and we know what that means. The shit is gonna hit the fan. So be here and join us for it. So, lads, if you want to say good night, we'll say good night, and we'll wrap up there.
Good night.
Oh,
Good night.
Night.
Sing a song.
Night.
And
No.
by the way, just one final thing I forgot. Thank you to everybody that contributed tonight, and especially those who gave us super chats. We really
And who dis? We don't know who dis is, because who dis is a complete mystery, and this is nobody that I've ever known ever.
right. I'm getting confused. Right. Are you tried? No. You can tell me off air. I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused right now.
I'll let you know.
You'll let me know. Okay. Right. Well, Taddy boy, everybody, Taddy boy says CD. Nice. I like that. I love that. Right. Here's the trailer. See you later. Have a good one.
Bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
You shall be